In today's marketing world, corporations use a variety of persuasive storytelling techniques to shape consumer perceptions. As businesses increasingly emphasize sustainability to align with societal concerns, the misuse of such rhetoric can lead to ethical breaches such as greenwashing. This presentation explores the implications of persuasive storytelling, focusing on the growing issue of greenwashing, and proposes solutions to uphold ethical principles of honesty and transparency in marketing.
Persuasive storytelling refers to the use of media and narrative to influence the behavior, opinion, or understanding of audiences, known as rhetoric. Aristotle referred to the three elements of rhetoric as ethos, logos, and pathos, or credibility, logic, and emotion. By establishing a sense of authority, employing logical reasoning, and evoking the desired emotional response, corporations can build relationships with consumers, which may then be translated into the sale of goods and services for profit. As such, this relational effect has made rhetoric and persuasive storytelling a favored tool in marketing and public relations, as companies strive to build positive business reputations and relations with consumers to drive profits. However, whilst persuasive storytelling is a powerful marketing tool, it is not without its own accompanying ethical risks, as companies may abuse the elements of rhetoric by misrepresenting the truth in order to influence consumers. An example of such practice is greenwashing, in which the elements of persuasive storytelling are misused in order to undermine individual autonomy and exploit the concerns of consumers. Before we elaborate on the specifics of greenwashing, let us first review the current ethical codes and doctrines governing public relation campaigns and marketing. As marketing and public relations is founded in the conduct of a business or corporation as a social entity and their interactions with consumers, Kant's deontological approach is most appropriate when analyzing the ethical considerations and implications of a marketing strategy. Particularly, the categorical imperative to act only in a manner that such an action should become universal law can be applied here. Furthermore, Kant asks whether an action is undertaken from a goodwill alone in order to assess ethical intent. Habermas furthers this by proposing four validity claims for consideration: the comprehensibility of the message, the truth of the content, the appropriateness, and the truthfulness of the speaker's intentions. Much like Kant's focus on intent, Habermas proposes that persuasive storytelling should maintain a focus on these elements to prioritize education and the sharing of information, in order to uphold a positive intention and avoid potential for manipulation. This approach is observed in several ethical codes that outline the duties and responsibilities of marketers. The Australian consumer law particularly prohibits the use of false and misleading statements, and the Australian Association of National Advertisers adopts a similar approach. The code also contains the specification that marketing shall not exploit community concerns in relation to protecting the environment or portray products in a way which implies a benefit to the environment which the product or services do not have. In order to abide by these ethical standards, the association offers the following guidelines to ensure any environmental claims are factual and substantiated. They state that environmental claims must be relevant, specific, and clearly explain the significance of the claim, not overstate the claim expressly or by implication, and not imply that a product or service is more socially acceptable on the whole. We see a deontological approach in these ethical codes. Businesses should uphold their duties to society by maintaining core principles of honesty and accuracy in their materials, and should avoid misrepresentations of the truth and any overextended implications about the morality of their products or services. Materials should contain only factual information, born out of an intent to inform rather than manipulate or exploit.
Greenwashing is an unethical practice whereby a company overstates or promises a sustainable process that they are not fulfilling. Companies utilize themes of greenness and environmental sustainability across advertising and PR, although tend to fall short of these claims and promote untruthful standards. Businesses may greenwash by advertising a percentage of recycled materials used for their products, when in reality the proposed recycled materials are producing large amounts of air pollution and in turn causing more environmental harm than good. Greenwashing is extremely harmful for consumers as it markets products or services in a way that deceives us in order to optimize their own profits. When a business greenwashes their image, it creates an unethical business model. Persuasive storytelling influences and directs consumers when decision making, as well as forming opinions on societal issues and events, highlighting the pertinence of ethical practice across this sphere. PR professionals must adhere to ethical codes when promoting a business's product, service, or story, as they have the ability to manipulate audiences and abuse their social power. This particular type of storytelling utilizes themes of deontological ethics and practices to ensure the wider community is protected from false advertisement and unethical narratives. Deontological ethics can be defined as the relative social norms, rights, and duties in various cultures and communities. It is an ethical paradigm that refers to duty and separating consequences for moral decision-making. Greenwashing contradicts and affirms deontological ethics as businesses are not making morally inclined choices as well as upholding their duty to their customers. But on the contrary, they are increasing profits and separating consequence from action. If a business partakes in unrealistic or unattainable sustainable advertising, they are not upholding their responsibility to consumers as well as causing further ecological harm. Although deontological ethics states that decisions may be perceived as moral regardless of a negative consequence, suggesting that when a business is thriving off of monetary profits due to a deceitful PR campaign or promise, they are not being morally wrong. Ultimately, greenwashing causes more harm to the wider community, outweighing the benefit that a company may reap.
We will now have a look at the cases in the apparel industry. H&M is known as the brand with multiple greenwashing allegations. In 2022, the allegation was raised by two consumers in Netherlands criticizing lack of substantiation of H&M's sustainability initiatives. As Netherlands Authority for Consumers and Marketing investigated the case, it was discovered that utilization of terms like eco-designed and conscious without explanation of products or evidence led to misleading marketing practice. Furthermore, the Norwegian Consumer Authority assessed H&M and Norrøna based on the Heek Index and decided to execute a legal action by restricting the usage of consumer-facing environmental product labels on their products. Despite H&M highlights their transparency and realistic goal, which is also shown on the slide, the public's negative brand perception was inevitable. This result suggests thorough verification of their sustainability initiative in their scientific field and provision of supporting information are required. In contrast, Adidas, the worldwide apparel brand, established a goal in 2017 to use recycled polyester only by 2024, which is clearly beyond the industry standard. As it is shown in this timeline, Adidas explained the progress of their ambitious goal with factual information such as avoidance in virgin polyester, annual report, and launch of 100% recyclable sneakers. Furthermore, the CIO of Adidas also emphasized the visibility of the carbon emission is a key to drive the employee and consumers to accomplish their sustainability goal. As she explained the importance of setting benchmarks and consistent monitoring of energy and resources consumption, those insights are significant for ethical practices in marketing sphere. The result that Adidas demonstrated is clear evidence that corporates can achieve both duties and successful consequences by making ethical decisions. Therefore, the adaptation of deontological ethics in business and its marketing field are realistic and also achievable as long as strict monitoring and management of sustainability initiatives and consistent updates in their sustainability goals are maintained.
In order for companies to avoid greenwashing, they should implement a strong framework into their business plan and operations. This framework includes a set of rules to live by, ensuring they avoid greenwashing in their campaigns. The proposed changes include: avoid making deceptive or false claims, allocate budget resources to support sustainability incentives, verify statements and data via third-party auditors. The claims stated in a campaign should be clear and specific, so nothing is up for interpretation. An example of a false statement is describing a product or service as environmentally friendly or sustainable when there is no evidence to prove this claim. In comparison, a clear statement would be easy to understand and verify, specifying what the claim is referring to, certifications to back up the claims, and transparency on the company's processes to reduce carbon footprint. For companies to showcase their passion for sustainability, they should allocate a portion of their resources to support initiatives to help them reduce their carbon footprint, taking action to become more environmentally friendly. Their funding can go towards offsetting carbon footprint, identifying the areas that produce high carbon emissions, setting realistic targets on what they can achieve, producing annual reports with transparency on their processes, researching ways to improve their business operations, products, and services. Companies need to verify statements about the product or service through third-party auditors to regularly confirm their claims. In best cases, these assessments provide a tool for informed decisions on sustainable corporate practices, emphasizing how companies want to make a difference. The auditors below are proven to be reliable and ethical. By certifying these claims with auditors and certifications, it allows consumers, stakeholders, and competitors to recognize the company's ethical claims are evident. This framework should be implemented into any kind of business that promotes sustainability in its campaigns and mission, regardless of the company's size. By utilizing this framework, consumers will support the company as their business offering meets their needs and interests in practicing sustainability. This approach also prevents companies from breaching the Australian consumer law. Additionally, following the AANA guidelines to avoid making false claims on environmental statements. To summarize our stance on persuasive storytelling, we emphasize the need for ethical advertising and ways to avoid greenwashing. H&M sustainability initiatives are a clear example of how a company lacks transparency, leading to negative public perceptions. Adidas avoided greenwashing by showing clothing processes to reach a sustainability goal. Ultimately, companies need to follow the Australian Consumer Law, AANA guidelines, and our framework to create truthful and accurate statements about their product and service.